In this lesson, we'll talk about hierarchy. Now that we have learned about space, shape, and color, what is really hierarchy? Hierarchy is the elements and the importance of the elements inside a composition. If we think of the shapes and colors, how we can use those elements and inform the hierarchy. In this exercise, I'll show you a schematic and a brief exercise of how to do hierarchy on packaging. Using as an example a book cover, we have a title, maybe a subtitle, the name of the author, the publisher, and also maybe a number. That in itself is a hierarchy, but most of the times the hierarchy goes to the title, and other times it's just really on the author. In this exercise, I'm using a vertical format, and you'll see that it's quite narrow. The first thing that I did is starting having these natural, organic shapes to inform the composition, thinking first of what the message is gonna be. In this case, I'm using a packaging example. So we'll go the name of the product, which let's think that is the most important part of the composition, framed by the call of action and the descriptor. And in here, I'm gonna ground the composition with general information. These examples in here, the sizes of the shapes, are also gonna inform the size of my typography and the color of it. In here is more predominant because this is where I want the hierarchy to be. It's the most important part. In this part of the product, you'll see that I'm using a darker color, thinking of a bolder type choice, because I want the emphasis in the hierarchy of this composition being first here, then followed by description, which is using right now a script, more naturalistic style, because it's what will ground and remove some of the heaviness of the part of the product. And call of action really, in this case, could go bigger or could go smaller. Really depends on the call to action it's gonna be. Think of a buy now or just today. That will be implying to do that action right now. And then general information, I'm using a more condensed type choice in here because maybe I have the mandatories down here, or maybe I have the descriptor of the producer or the address of the producer in here. So I'm treating it more as a secondary element. Hierarchy in this case is also telling the viewer or the buyer where to start to read. If you think of this part first, we'll start the reading as name of the product, followed by description, and then we'll finish here because that's dictating how I want the viewer to read the whole message. Nowadays, we've been told that users are not really reading what is on the packs. And that's why we are asked as designers to have the product of the name quite prominent. But the intention of having the description nearby the name of the product is because think of the competitor next door that will have a similar packaging to yours. Then in here is where we're starting saying why our product is better than the one next door. What makes this one more outstanding from the one next door? Think of these elements when you're doing hierarchy to really emphasize on what makes the product outstandable and help your clients sell a bit more. In this example, we're also treating hierarchy with scale. So the name of the product will go bigger, and that is apart from the shape or the color of the text itself. Or if some of their elements are smaller, then it's implicit that the hierarchy is lower on those. Think of that when you're making decisions in terms of your composition. This is a very commercial-driven composition and hierarchy as well. Whenever you have the chance, just challenge that. Think out of the box and how you can have a different hierarchy with your elements that can say something about you and your product as well. We are almost at the end on our list on the design concepts. In the next lesson, we'll talk about rhythm.